Hi, this is my video blog for my channel, Trombone Talking Techniques, for April 14th, 2023. Just released another playing video and a short version of that video. Please, everybody, watch that if you want. If you don't, well, don't then. Don't subscribe to my channel and don't bother. But anyway, I would rather you subscribe. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend anybody. But anyway, I'm practicing every day. I'm going to take Sunday off again. I've been working one of my high Fs, and it's not easy. Playing lip slurs up to high F is not an easy thing. But 3 months ago when I started practicing, playing a high B flat wasn't easy. You know, that was a struggle. Just to play a lip slur up to high B flat. I was only playing 5-note lip slurs at that time. Da 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 da. I could barely get those out. Now, playing a whole octave higher than that. Working on a whole octave higher. Not playing well. And I'm playing much better on the up to high D. Though I'm still working on my upper register. My lower register is coming along. If you watch my last video, I do some techniques in there you might not have heard of. So if you have any questions, ask me. I will be making videos on advanced techniques one of these days on my lessons. Things like multiphonics, doodle tonguing. Actually, tonguing is my next lesson. Talk a little bit about doodle tonguing. And microtones, quarter tones. I'm a big Don Ellis fan, who was a big player of his 4-valve quarter tone trumpet. And of course, trombone, you don't need any extra valve. You can play any note in between every note. Microtones and everything. So anyway, I was going to talk today. I keep getting these videos popping up on YouTube about these UFOs and you know, and the blurry videos. You know, I mean, so easy to make a video today. There's no excuse for having a blurry video with another, unless you want to fake it. So I have seen a UFO. My sister's seen a UFO in California. I saw mine in Florida at the time, which I know now probably wasn't it. It is identified pretty much, because at the time it was his early 1990s. I owned a bar in South Tampa near MacDill Air Force Base. And of course, all these sightings seem to happen near Air Force bases. I wonder why. But anyway, was closing the bar with our cook. She stayed late. She needed to ride, so she waited till I was done closing. She didn't have her car, so we all walked out into the parking lot about 3:30 a.m. and saw something very strange streaking across the sky. Not even streaking, slowly passing over us. Not in the direction of the Air Force Base. You know, we're used to hearing jets and things going over very loud and, you know, seeing them. But it was like a fireball, making no noise, no nothing. But not something entering the atmosphere, because it was below the cloud level, so it was definitely, and I didn't see anything in front of it. You know, just the ball of fire going across the sky. And we looked at it and said, "No, I didn't see that. No, I didn't see that. That was pretty weird." And you know, my cook has lived near MacDill Air Force Base almost her whole life. She's a native. Lived just a few miles away from MacDill. So she said, "That's not normal." Well, now I know that, you know, didn't see any aircraft. You know, normally you see a jet fighter, you see the lights flashing from the, you know, the indicator lights, and the, you know, normally you would see that. There wasn't anything. It was totally dark. It was dark. What was being invented at that time? What was the Air Force coming out with? Well, of course, the F-22 stealth fighter. You can't see it from the ground. It's painted in such a way If you look up, and it doesn't have any lights, nothing. You can't see it. It's stealth. You're not supposed to be able to see it. But it was probably firing its afterburner. That's what the ball of fire was. It's the afterburner. If you know anything about jets, jet aircraft, which of course in battle it probably wouldn't do that, but it was probably getting ready to land. And at that time, it was a secret aircraft. Of course, it would be flying at night, so people wouldn't see it because it was secret. It was very new. You know, they just started using this aircraft in the first Iraq War. I don't even know if it was even used then. No, I don't think so. Not till years later. So most UFOs can be explained, which goes to my skepticism about UFOs. I'm astronomy. I love music, but I also love science and astronomy, and some of the new telescope. I forgot its name in outer space. Now they're probably going to be able to see something called an exoplanet. An exoplanet is a planet outside our solar system, and it will be able to detect the atmospheric makeup of that exoplanet. And if there's the right makeup, it can tell if there's civilizations there. Well, that's now. They're doing this. Now they have plans in the next decade or two for more powerful telescopes, quantum telescopes that can, I don't know the exact name, but they have a series of telescopes either across the Earth or in outer space that join together and can be 1,000 times stronger than any telescope on this Earth. There's already plans for that. Now, so with these, they'll be able to see exoplanets. You know, with radar, they can see through the clouds. They can see the surface of the exoplanets and see what's there. What if it's got cities or civilizations or whatever. That's probably in our lifetime that will happen. Well, unless I die tomorrow. Definitely in my son's lifetime. They're gonna be able watching of course, they've got to find the exoplanet that has life. They're gonna probably have to do tens or thousands of explore these planets and find one that's, scientists are going to be really busy. But that brings to the point. They say, oh, these UFOs, they're thousands of years more advanced than us. So thousands of more years advanced, or hundreds of years, or whatever. Imagine, even a civilization 100 years advanced than us, been watched they have the same, they've developed the telescopes to watch us from their planet. Why would they send a spaceship to Earth when they can just look through a telescope and watch what we're doing? Doesn't make any sense. Not sense at all. UFOs, aliens, civilizations sending aircraft or spaceships here makes no logical sense. There's no reason for them to risk the lives of their people to come to a planet that's less primitive to them. It's like us, like a entomologist, to someone who studies insects, watches an ant farm. Does that person shrink himself down and go into the ant farm and study it? No, he observes it from a distance, and that's what scientists do. They don't interfere; they observe. Now, a civilization, say 100,000 years more than us, they've probably been watching us for 100,000 years. They probably watched from the time of the caveman. Probably been watching us develop all these, many thousands of years develop into our current society. Of course, we're still probably considered ants to them. If they're so far more advanced than us. I'm sure they've been studying us for thousands of years. It doesn't make sense for them to send a spacecraft through space, or a spaceship through space, which is extremely dangerous, full of radiation, full of. Now we know that that space travel in between stars is extremely difficult, extremely dangerous. Even if you could find a wormhole, when you go through a wormhole, it would tear you apart. Scientists don't know that it's not going to be easy to go through any wormhole. There's no, that's Star Trek fantasy. I mean, I love Star Trek. I'm a Star Trek fan. I got Picard right now. Going to watch the 9th episode of Picard as soon as I'm done with this. I love it, but it's fantasy. Some of it has basic in science. The original Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry was, a great writer, and envisioned, the communicator. Now we've got communicators. You can tell them, you can call up the people in space now. We communicate freely, and it will be that same when we go to the moon. So communication, the things that and the scanners, the health scanners that we've got now. There are many things they predicted in those episodes, but warp drive, going faster than the speed of light. It's going to create. To do this, or to make a wormhole, you're going to need as much energy as is produced from the sun, or more. In other words, you'd have to somehow harness the whole energy of the sun just to get up to the speed to go through a wormhole, or to pass the. No. They're not going to bother. They just look through a telescope. They can watch us. They can watch probably tens or hundreds or tens of millions or millions of civilizations across the Milky Way, or even the different universe. Doesn't make sense. It's not logical. I'm a fan of Mr. Spock, as they say, Mr. Spock on Star Trek. It's simply logical. There's no reason for it. No reason for any UFOs to come here. Now, there's some strange things that happen. There's lots in science we don't know. We didn't know a few years ago that ball lightning existed. People thought it were ghosts or something. And we know that ball lightning exists. And then the lightning going from the clouds up into the upper atmosphere. We didn't know, I forgot what the name of this. We didn't know that existed. Hell, just in the last century, they didn't know that galaxies existed. They just thought there were stars out there. They didn't know that were many galaxies. Galaxies weren't discovered until recently, until recent scientific times. So there's a lot we don't know in nature, in science, that can explain, and of course so much fakery. I see the video from the military aircraft, and it looks like it's very blurry, and it goes. If you know anything about photography, that's not regular photography. That was infrared photography. And what you're seeing is the trail, the exhaust trail from a aircraft that's flying around, and it looks like it's dancing all over the place because you're seeing it from different angles, and it keeps moving. You don't see the aircraft because the aircraft is in hot. The exhaust is hot. And then people, and then the forced perspective. If you know anything about filming, about movies, the forced perspective. They say, look at that aircraft. They're facing down toward the water, and they see an aircraft screeching across below them. Well, that's the forced perspective. It looks like it's going fast because it's going close to the water. Duh. It looks like it's not going fast. It's not going as fast as they are even. It's just because it's close to the water. It looks like whatever streaking across is going across. Same in outer space. You don't know what's flying around. There's so much junk in outer space now. They say, let's look at the stuff from the space station, and they see all these strange objects. Well, yeah, space is full of junk. It's polluted, and every once in a while something passes in front of their camera that's, strange, piece of space junk, and they say, it's a UFO! Well, it is a UFO. It's unidentified, but it's space junk, and it's going at a vastly different speed than they are. You know, when you're circulating the Earth, objects are going at incredible speeds. That's how they stay up. That's if they weren't going to the speeds, they'd fall down to the Earth. You know, that's how you get into orbit. You don't get into orbit by going straight up. You go into the orbit by going fast. It's called centrifugal force. You go fast enough where you don't fall. The centrifugal force is preventing you from falling back to Earth. And now, if you slow down the centrifugal force, then you fire those thrusters and you slow down and you start falling back down to Earth, and you go through the atmosphere. You know, people have no idea. Say, oh, it's defying the laws of physics. It's called photography. It's called forced perspective. It's called CGI. So don't believe what you see on the internet. Peace out. I'm going to go watch Star Trek Picard now.